Imagine this for a moment. Just a really awful medical nightmare. You, or maybe someone you love, needs care, but something goes terribly wrong. A procedure is botched. Maybe a diagnosis is missed completely.
Yeah, a critical mistake.
Exactly. So you seek justice, right?
Yeah.
You file a complaint. You pour your heart out, detailing everything, only for that plea to be dismissed, not even looked at.
Like it never even happened. Your suffering just ignored.
It's horrific to think about. And today we're actually diving into a real-life version of this, something that's unfolding right now in India's healthcare system.
Yeah, it's a situation that's deeply concerning. It really makes you question the accountability structures in place for medical practice.
And right at the center of this is India's National Medical Commission, the NMC.
They're basically the top regulators for all things medical in India. Think education standards, ethical practice, the whole lot.
But they're meant to make sure doctors know their stuff and, play by the rules. The ultimate umpire, sort of.
That's the idea.
Hmm?
They're supposed to be the guardians of medical integrity.
But here's the thing. The guardians themselves seem to be, well, faltering. There are revelations coming out now showing the NMC has been, frankly, dropping the ball. Big time.
Especially regarding patient complaints about medical negligence.
Exactly. We found out they've rejected a really shocking number of appeals, 162 appeals from patients without even bothering to get a legal opinion on it.
Wow, 162. Without legal review. That's
great.
That's like a judge ruling without hearing any arguments, isn't it?
Precisely. It bypasses the whole idea of fairness.
And this isn't just hearsay. This is coming out through right-to-information requests, RTIs. It really makes this story feel incredibly current, like it's breaking news today, August 16th, 2025.
So our mission for this deep dive is to unpack this whole great medical mix-up. We need to look at how these appeals are just disappearing.
Into a kind of bureaucratic black hole, yeah. And what that means for patient rights, fundamentally.
And why this whole situation is such a crucial wake-up call for healthcare accountability. Not just in India, really, but everywhere.
Definitely. Before we get too deep, though, maybe we should just quickly clarify what we mean by medical negligence.
Yeah.
It's not every little hiccup, right?
Good point. Yeah, we're not talking about, like, the doctor being 5 minutes late or a minor miscommunication.
No, absolutely not. Medical negligence is when a healthcare provider's actions, or sometimes their lack of action, falls below the accepted standard of care. And crucially, that failure directly causes injury, harm, or even death to a patient.
So, serious stuff.
Very serious. Things like prescribing the wrong medicine, making significant errors during surgery, or failing to diagnose obvious critical symptoms that any competent doctor should have caught.
Okay, so it's about major deviations with real, often devastating consequences.
Exactly.
And there is supposed to be a system for patients to seek justice when this happens. My understanding is you start with the State Medical Council, the SMC.
That's right. The SMC is the first port of call.
And if you're not satisfied with their decision, the next step, theoretically, is appealing to the NMC's own Ethics and Medical Registration Board, the EMRB. That's the intended pathway.
That is precisely how the system is supposed to work. SMC first, then the EMRB at the NMC acts as the higher appeal body. It's meant to provide that crucial second look, ensuring checks and balances.
A robust system on paper?
Supposedly.
But the reality, as we're finding out, is quite different. And this is where the story gets really interesting thanks to the work of a Kerala-based ophthalmologist, Dr. V Babu.
Ah, yes. Dr. Babu. He's become something of an RTI warrior, hasn't he?
He really has. He's been like a detective using right-to-information requests relentlessly to uncover this whole mess, just digging and digging for answers from the official channels.
His persistence is pretty remarkable. And through his efforts, his RTI findings, we've learned some really specific things. Like the NMC leadership actually discussed patient appeal rights multiple times.
Right. We have dates for those meetings, October 6, 2021.
May 1, 2024, and September 23, 2024. They're talking about it.
But what came out of those discussions is, well, quite unsettling. It seems like every time they decided that doctors, yes, they could appeal decisions against them, but patients, no.
It's like a one-way street was deliberately built into the system. Professionals can appeal, patients can't.
And maybe the most shocking detail Dr. Babu unearthed was from that October 2021 meeting. They apparently made an explicit decision. Patients should not be allowed to appeal to the EMRB. A flat no.
Just decided against it. And the irony just keeps piling up, because then you fast forward to December 10th, 2024.
What happened then?
On that date, the NMC actually approved the idea of entertaining all appeals. They put it in writing.
Okay, so they changed their stance. Officially.
Officially, yes.
Hmm.
But incredibly, even after that approval, those rejections of patient appeals, they just kept coming.
So the decision was made, but nothing changed on the ground.
It certainly seems that way. It points to a huge disconnect between policy and practice, maybe even internal resistance. The left hand not knowing what the right hand decided, perhaps. It's truly baffling.
So let's try and untangle this legal knot. The NMC seems to be hanging its hat on Section 33 of the NMC Act of 2019.
That's their justification.
That section says appeals are for medical practitioners or professionals who feel wronged by an SMC decision. But Dr. Babu's argument, and it seems quite strong, is that this doesn't actually ban patients from appealing.
Exactly. His point is the Act specifies who among the professionals can appeal, but it doesn't say only professionals can appeal. It doesn't explicitly exclude patients.
So the NMC just misinterpreted it.
That's Dr. Babu's assertion. He argues they misinterpreted it in their fourth official meeting, and that misinterpretation has had these devastating consequences for patients.
And the irony, as you said, it just gets deeper. There was this big announcement hailed as a landmark decision by the NMC, supposedly allowing appeals.
Right, that December 2024 decision we mentioned.
But even after that supposed landmark shift, another RTI from Dr. Babu in June 2025 revealed that 162 patient complaints about negligence were still rejected, formally rejected.
It shows a real pattern of inconsistency, doesn't it? And it gets even more confusing. In February 2025, there was a report, again based on Dr. Babu's RTI work, which highlighted that according to the NMC's own meeting minutes from September 2024, non-doctors could appeal SMC decisions.
Wait, so their own minutes said patients could appeal?
That's what the report indicated, based on the minutes. Yet, despite that, a patient's appeal from Chennai, also in September 2024, was still rejected, citing the very same Section 33.
It's like a circular argument where the patient always loses. It would be almost comical if it weren't so tragic for the people involved.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And this isn't even new territory. We need to look back a bit. Under the old system, the Medical Council of India, the MCI.
The body the NMC replaced in 2020.
Correct. Under the MCI, patients did have established appeal rights. This
Yeah.
wasn't even ambiguous. It came from a Supreme Court order back in 2003.
A Supreme Court order.
Yes, specifically Clause 8.8 of the 2002 Ethics Regulations. So the right existed, it was legally mandated, then the NMC takes over, and poof, those rights just seem to evaporate.
Vanished into thin air. And the government knew this was an issue.
It seems so. They even proposed an amendment back in 2022 to fix this very problem, to explicitly write patient appeal rights back into the law.
Okay, so a solution was proposed.
Yes, but as of October 2024, that amendment is apparently still just sitting there, gathering dust. Nothing's happened with it.
Like promising to fix a leak but never actually patching the roof. Meanwhile, people are getting soaked.
Precisely. And these aren't just procedural issues. They hit real people, real families. There's the heartbreaking case of Gokul Chandaneja from Punjab.
What happened there?
His wife tragically died due to alleged medical negligence. He filed an appeal with the NMC, rejected in February 2023. And what's even more confounding is that the NMC apparently overruled its own previous decision, in his case just to reject it.
Overruled themselves? How does that even work?
It adds another layer of just bewildering inconsistency. It shows this isn't a recent glitch. This problem, this dismissal of patient appeals, has been going on for years.
Which brings us back to a really basic question. Why didn't the NMC just get a formal legal opinion on Section 33 right at the start?
It's the million-dollar question, isn't it? A simple legal clarification could have potentially avoided all this confusion, all this distress, this erosion of trust.
It feels like, well, bureaucratic negligence almost, making huge decisions impacting people's lives without doing the basic legal homework.
It certainly appears that crucial due diligence was overlooked, with profound consequences.
And the only reason we even know about all this really is because of transparency, isn't it? The power of the RTI Act.
Absolutely. The Right to Information Act. It's such a vital tool for ordinary citizens, for you, for me, to demand answers from government bodies. It's exactly how Dr. Babu managed to shine a light on these massive gaps.
Without his relentless RTI requests, this whole story might have just stayed buried in paperwork.
Definitely. The RTI Act of 2005 is designed to empower citizens, compel disclosure, and enforce accountability. But we should also be realistic.
It's not always easy.
No, it's not foolproof. Getting clear answers can be a real struggle. Activists often describe responses as vague, evasive, half-baked. You sometimes have to fight tooth and nail for real transparency.
So RTI is powerful, but requires persistence.
Immense persistence.
And this isn't just about patient appeals, is it? It feels like there might be wider issues within the medical regulatory system.
Well, yes. Other concerning things have surfaced. For example, in July 2025, there were reports about over 40 medical colleges.
What about them?
Allegations of bribing officials for recognition, using falsified records, even ghost faculties, meaning non-existent teaching staff. This led to arrests by the CBI, India's main investigative agency.
Wow, that points to a much deeper systemic problem with integrity, doesn't it? Beyond just the appeal process.
It certainly suggests broader challenges within the healthcare regulatory landscape. These issues have knock-on effects.
Like what?
Well, if the NMC effectively shuts down the appeal route for negligence complaints,
Patients have to go elsewhere.
exactly, they end up turning to consumer forums or the high courts. And as we know, the judicial system is already incredibly strained.
So it just adds more pressure, more delays.
Precisely. Another RTI revealed that specific government proposals on tackling negligence had just been sitting idle for 2 years. It creates bottlenecks, sometimes stopping the pursuit of justice altogether.
And is this unique to India, or do we see similar problems elsewhere?
Oh, it's definitely not unique. You see accountability gaps in healthcare systems globally. Look at the UK. There have been concerns about physician associates being linked to never events.
Never events. Those sound serious.
They are serious, preventable patient safety incidents that simply shouldn't happen. Their occurrence points to potential regulatory or system failures. Or look at Kenya, where courts actually had to step in and quash a committee set up by the health minister to handle medical claims, because the committee simply lacked the legal authority to do what it was doing. So yeah, these themes of legal interpretation, proper authority, and accountability gaps, they echo across different countries.
But back to India and Dr. Babu, his persistence is quite something.
It really is. His continuous crusade, armed with RTI requests, has slowly but surely forced the NMC to acknowledge the problem.
He forced their hand, essentially.
You could say that. His efforts directly led to that NMC decision in January 2025 to finally start taking up patient appeals again.
So there has been some progress, thanks to him.
There's been a formal decision, yes.
Yeah.
That's significant progress on paper. But, and this is crucial, the actual implementation seems to be lagging. Translating that policy decision into consistent action on the ground remains the challenge.
So when we wrap this all up, what's the main takeaway here? What does this whole NMC saga really tell us?
I think it's a huge wake-up call. A really vivid example of what happens when the institutions meant to protect people misinterpret their own rules or fail to follow through and end up dismissing cries for justice without even a proper look.
Patient appeals aren't just optional extras, are they?
Absolutely not. They're not like, choosing whether to have pickles on your burger. They are fundamental, foundational to trust and accountability in the entire healthcare system.
And think about what that means for you, the listener, for your own peace of mind when you seek medical care.
Yeah. If patients feel they can't effectively appeal a bad decision, why bother complaining in the first place? It sends a terrible message.
It could embolden bad actors, couldn't it? And it definitely erodes that vital trust between a doctor and a patient.
Trust is everything, and it needs clear pathways for accountability to survive.
Dr. Babu keeps saying it, and it seems so clear. Patient appeal rights need to be put back in place properly and without further delay.
It's essential.
So it leaves us with a pretty serious question. What happens when the official umpire seems to be dropping the ball on something this critical? How do we, as patients, as citizens, ensure accountability, especially when the system designed to protect us seems to be shutting the door?
It really highlights the power of individual persistence, doesn't it? And the power of transparency tools like RTI. It's often an uphill battle.
No doubt. But staying informed, asking questions, demanding accountability, that seems to be the way forward. Because in healthcare, ignorance isn't bliss.
It's dangerous.
Absolutely. So maybe the final thought for everyone listening is, what steps would you consider taking if you or someone you knew found yourself in this kind of frustrating, seemingly dead-end situation?